everyone, welcome in or welcome back. It's lovely to see you again, and I hope you're doing real well. So today we're going to be working on another Itabag because a con is coming up in a little while here, and I want to make sure that I have this one ready for it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So first things first, just in case you missed the announcement in the last video, I do have a Discord available now, so please feel free to join. If you're working on your own Itabags, feel free to show me. If you are collecting dolls, feel free to show me. And if you have a silly trinket or want to talk about some silly games, please feel free to let me know. Link for that will be in the description as well as the Linktree card. So the topic of our Itabag today is going to be Izuru Kanade. He is my favorite VTuber and has been my favorite VTuber for quite a while now. So a little while ago I started collecting the various pieces of merch, and of course, as usual, didn't bother putting it together until now. So we'll go ahead and start looking at the base and then all the merch pieces. Then there are a couple alterations I want to do to the bag, and then we'll start putting everything together. These two are not going in the base, but I just want to show off how adorable my Izuru plushies are. They are the cutest things ever. I didn't get them when they initially came out and then had the worst FOMO ever about them, so I'm very happy to own both of them now. So as for our base today, this one does come with an insert already, which is very nice. And I believe I got this off of Japanese Mercari secondhand. So it is a black cat base. There is an X patch as well as a white cat face with whiskers embroidered into the top here. Aside from the center window, it also has two cloudy windows on each side. So worst case scenario, I may put something in there as well. But this bag is significantly smaller than the other ones that I've had so far. I believe this one is also just a little bit smaller than the Zigzagoon one. So given that Izuru is associated with black cats, you can see his little ears on his hood there, I want to take some yellow felt. It's a little bit closer to the color in person, but on my camera it does look quite saturated. And I want to do it to match his clips as well as at least the piercings. If we can get the pattern here, that would also be nice, but the piercings and his clips are priority. So we're going to be adding that to the bag. For the fabric inside the bag, I have two options. I have a darker blue and a lighter blue. Kind of play it by ear by which one I end up liking better, but I think what we'll probably do is do it on the inside here as well as on the two sides. I'm leaning towards this lighter blue. This is also the same pattern that I used for my OC Itabag, but this one I think matches nicely to the dark colors and might let some of the badges stand out against it better. So we'll go ahead and see what I like when we get there. And then also from the OC Itabag, I'm going to be using the dark purple and white puffballs. Now starting on our pieces of merch, first off I have this square can badge, and this is, I believe, from the 3 Rise Super Fan Meeting. He is so cute on this one. I love when he looks super pouty. It's so adorable. And then this one here is a little, almost like school style emblem with his initials on it. His signature dark blue is the accent color in Holostars, and it also has this cute little piece of ribbon. At the very bottom it says 2023 8/12, so August 12th is Izuru's birthday. From that same year I also have the can badge that was from that set, and then this one was for his 5th year anniversary celebration, so I think these two badges are from last year. And then this can badge here is from his 2nd anniversary. This one is another one from his birthday celebration last year. So the 2024 merch set. I like this one since it's a casual art one. And then I believe this one is from a Holostars 5th anniversary set. This one is from the 2nd act event. He is also very beautiful on this one. And then for this one, even after reverse searching it, I couldn't find out where it came from, which leads me to think this might have been a blind bag badge, but he is adorable. I love his little slight cat smile in this one. It's very cute. And then I have one piece of fan merch, but the issue is that I don't remember who the artist is because I bought this when they were at a local con, and so I do not know who they are, but I do remember they were very excited when I asked to buy Izuru, and I do remember that they either had an all-purpose Holostars Itabag or it was specifically for Miyabi. I do remember that Miyabi was their favorite, but I wish I could remember who did this because I was so excited when I went and saw this one singular piece of Izuru merch. So even after reverse searching though, I wasn't able to find their name, but truly, thank you so much for being the one person there that had Izuru. There was one other artist that I think had Shion and maybe Oga, but they had Izuru, and he is my favorite of all time ever. So that covers all of my merch pieces. So moving through some bag alterations, we're just gonna go ahead and chop up some of the wool fabric now, and I'm just gonna fabric glue it on. I don't foresee myself using this bag for anyone else besides Izuru, but I think even if I do end up upgrading him to a bigger bag, I'll probably keep this one around or as a smaller Izuru bag. So I've drawn out my first one. Okay, so I have our first two pieces cut out. I think I'm gonna take off this patch and we're gonna put it where the patch is. I think that's where I want it. I don't have a seam ripper, so here's doing our best not to cut it. Okay, so I managed to remove the little X that was there. I'm still gonna keep this, and I think we're gonna try and find a place to put it otherwise, because I think it's still pretty cute. Time to put on our little clippies for him where they used to be. And to adhere them, I'm just gonna use a bit of fabric glue. In particular, I'm gonna try and make sure the corners are nice and secure. First one, and gluing down our second one. So we have our two little clips there. Next up is gonna be, there's 3 piercings on this side and then the bar piercing for the left ear. I have 3 little circles cut out now. Now we're gonna put them on the ear. I think we're gonna do the circles on the left side first. So he has 2 piercings on the left cat ear. We have 2 little circles cut out for that side now. And then he has the bar piercing at the very top. Thinking if I wanna attach 2 parts on the back too, or just have the line across, but I think we're just gonna do the line across, which I do have a couple scraps here that we can use. There's all my little felt pieces glued on. Before we move on to doing the insert, I think I'm gonna put the X that we cut out from the other side on this side so that there's at least a little bit of something balancing on this end. So with that, all of our little glued pieces are on. I think it looks pretty cute. Match the bag a little bit more if I did like synthetic colored leather instead, but I think for what it is, it's actually quite cute. It does feel reminiscent of Izuru, and that's mostly what I was looking for. I am liking it so far. Our insert this time is pretty small, but I'm basically going to pin it in place using some safety pins. Do I like how that looks? I think they kind of stand out more nicely against the dark background rather than the light one. I think we're gonna go with the dark fabric this time. I'm just gonna roughly cut a section that will fit our insert with a little bit of overhang. And it doesn't really need to be perfect since we're just gonna be pinning it to the back anyway. Okay, now I'll just kind of clean up the edges. And my little section cut off here. I really need to remember to like unfurl these and let their wrinkles settle out before I sit down and film things. I'm just gonna flip it to its back, and we're pretty much just gonna put safety pins along the edges so that it stays in place. Izuru was pretty much the first VTuber that I got really invested in, has remained my favorite this whole time. I didn't always have the time to be able to follow through like full playthroughs of games, and I always preferred someone who's going to be a lot more laid back in their approach to how they talk to chat and their general energy. So Izuru does a lot of gaming streams, but he also does a lot of music streams, and that was kind of what sold me on watching him, was his music streams. Izuru has the most beautiful, slightly raspy voice, and I was kind of enamored by it. I found him at a time that I was in a really, really bad mental rut just because of various circumstances, and so it is a little corny to say, but his streams, I totally did this like unevenly. So it's a little corny to say, but his streams definitely gave me something to look forward to. At that time, I was throwing so much of myself into academics, just trying to keep myself busy until the day was over. But he gave me something to look forward to, and also just generally something where I could, for a moment, focus on and not have to worry about all the various things going on in my brain. I did it so unevenly, but I really don't want to pin it again, so we're just gonna keep going. And the time that I started watching him was before I started VTubing myself. I think I'm sure I mentioned it over and over again at this point. I never planned to be a VTuber, and I always really, really admired his work ethic when it came to VTubing, because he was always like very no nonsense with his chat. He was very, very clear about his boundaries, and that was something that I struggled a lot with, even just in my personal life. So seeing him able to hold those values in relationships that it definitely gets easy to overstep was something that I found really admirable. God, it is looking a bit like a murder scene on the backside, but you know, as long as it looks nice on the front, that's all that matters, really. And as long as you don't see the edge when it's in the insert, that's all I care about. Okay, I do like the color. Time to line up our various pieces of merch. For this one, I'm definitely gonna have to layer some of the badges. I think maybe this one. So this would take up all the can badges. Oh, if I have room for this one in there. Unless I tuck it underneath all the other Izurus. I've kind of an awkward amount of merch. Oh, that kind of works. And then that just leaves us with the charms, and we can put those on either the outside, or I can put these on either side of the inside area that I was talking about earlier. I think maybe if we shimmy these to this side, something like that might look better. But we'll start with pinning the top row, and then I'll figure out what we're doing on the bottom. So anyway, Izuru had such a beautiful singing voice and such a calming presence, even though he was a little bit of a brat. And I was really, really amazed by how he held himself generally. For how young he is, he did such a good job with holding his boundaries, and that's something so important when you're going into a creator space, knowing where your boundaries lie and how to enforce them when it arises, when they get crossed. Even now, that's something that I still struggle a little bit with. But I think it's amazing that someone as young as him can be so firm with what is and isn't okay and not letting others overstep that. But he also just works so hard on his covers that it's hard for me to look at that and not be kind of motivated to put my efforts into creating content as well. Oh my god, he's so cute. Ow. So we have our layered top row. Even now, I think that all of Holostars is really incredible, and they do such an amazing job. I know that there is kind of sometimes a barrier for male VTubers that is a little bit hard to cross. But when my friend introduced me to VTubers, he introduced me to a couple of the other Holostars boys, and then when I saw Izuru, it was like basically feeling like, oh, this is the one. Everything about his work ethic, his ability to keep boundaries, how much he cares about what he works on, and the goals that he sets for himself. I want to be able to set those goals for myself and not feel disheartened when I don't meet them, or rather learn to set more attainable goals for myself as well. We're going a bit rogue on the bottom. I don't know what I'm doing. The square badge makes it so weird. If I move it up, maybe at the bottom, the pom-poms will cover the fact that I didn't know how else to put these on there. Maybe there, and then like womp, womp. Gosh, I'm not used to working with such a tiny base, but it's kind of an interesting challenge in its own right. Okay, we'll try that. Womp, womp, and womp. But if you are someone who watches VTubers, I mean, I guess in one way or another you are, since you're watching this channel, supposedly, I would love to hear about your favorites or who you admire, or if you are a VTuber yourself, if there's anyone that you hold as kind of an inspiration. I know there are plenty of people who get into VTubing who didn't really consume any VTuber media till after, or maybe still don't. For me, I still have a preference towards music VTubers for sure, just because they're so nice to put on while I'm working, especially if they're doing like karaoke streams and that kind of thing. Like, I don't have to worry about finding a playlist. I can just put on my 3-hour stream and then let it run while I'm working. Izuru's birthday is coming up again next month, and I was so sad I realized I missed the date to pre-order at least the can badge. And the can badges are definitely the piece of merch I care the most about, since they work nicely into Itabags. So we'll tuck that in here and see how everything is laying. Maybe I can move one from the top row down, and that way we don't have to stack them so much right here, because this point kind of bothers me. I think this is the piece of anniversary merch that came out the year that I was like really into watching his content, so this one's kind of sentimental to me. So I want it to show more clearly. Oh, we might have figured it out. That looks pretty good. And we have just a square size gap in the bottom for this. We have just enough of a square size gap. In any case though, having followed Holostars for as long as I have, I've definitely seen them come and go and whatnot as well. And of course there's the whole thing currently going on with Bishoujo as of July 2025. But I suppose what I want to make a point of is that at times it can be really socially exhausting to do something like streaming. I mean, I'm quite clear I'm someone with pretty bad social anxiety, and I just get on here anyway. Because at the end of the day, sharing the stuff I like is not something that I can always do in my personal life, so for me, this is a good way of being able to do so. Oh, hell yeah, we're winning. We're big winning. We're big winning. Oh my god, it's so cute. Okay, I think I can lower the square badge a little more. I guess what I want to say is, like, at times, of course, being a streamer, a content creator is demanding in its own way, though certainly different than traditional hobbies and whatnot, depending on how hard you're going at it. And at the end of the day, it's unlikely that the content creators we care about are going to be around forever. I mean, I don't know how long I'm going to be sticking around with this. What I want to say is, like, being a streamer, being a content creator of any kind definitely takes a certain amount of energy. One that I personally always struggled with. I feel like I just repeat the same stories over and over again at this point, but you know, whatever. But I just hope that if there is someone that you enjoy content for, doesn't even have to be me, of course, that sometimes you express that appreciation, even if that's just like interacting with the content at all, interacting with the creator at all, just showing that there's someone out there that is appreciating the work that they're doing, I think can go a long way. We're moving on to me going insane with pom-poms now, by the way. But I would screenshot them and keep them on my phone. And lately, when there are times when I can't help but slog a little bit through trying to push myself to make content again, the fact that it could bring anyone any amount of comfort, that could bring anyone any amount of joy, is such a special feeling that it encourages me to keep going at it. In my case, I spend money on him, but of course not everyone has the privilege of being able to spend money on the content that is available for free, in which case even just interacting with the content creator you care about, you know, responding to the messages that they put out there on Twitter or Blue Sky, leaving comments, leaving messages in chat, even if it's just to say hi, I appreciate your stuff, and then you go back to lurking, sometimes that really does make a world of a difference. Finding out about pom-poms has been the best part of making an Itabag. Anyway, that is all also to say, if you have ever left a message, a comment, if you have ever said hi and that you appreciate what I'm doing, just know that I appreciate it truly, truly from the bottom of my heart. And I hope that I can continue fighting past my goddamn mental demons to keep making content in one way or another. I'm so appreciative. I truly, truly am. I don't want to go too crazy with the pom-poms this time, but I do really like going crazy with the pom-poms because they're just so cute. But I think I've kind of exhausted how many pom-poms I can put in here without entirely covering his face. I do still have the fan merch and the emblem, so gotta remove the webbing on the side of the window, which I think is just there for protection. Yeah, if it's not, then, you know, I've already messed up this bag enough. But that way I can put the charms in the side pouches here. I'm gonna make like a really, really mini insert with just a little bit of fabric. This is a leftover piece from the OC Itabag, but that way we can add another splash of color into the sides here. That would be pretty cute. So just cut another little strip here with a bit of overhang again. I'll just use fabric glue again to glue it to the plastic canvas. By the way, if you've never heard Izuru songs, I highly recommend checking them out. He is so incredible at what he does. So whether that is one of his like full covers or his karaoke streams, he is genuinely incredible. So if listening to like J-pop and J-pop covers are kind of your thing, I recommend checking it out. And then boop. Wait, I can put more pom-poms in the pockets, guys. More pom-poms. Yes. Yes! I think this charm would be really cute hanging on the outside, but I just really prefer not to have merch on the outside if I can help it. Though I hear there are little things that you can replace or put on like ball chain clasps that make it harder for them to fall off and or be taken off, which does sound pretty intriguing. I might have to look into those in the future. So I've got my second little background panel here. I'm just gonna tuck it in that side. Pom-poms. Wait, pom-poms. I think with that we're just about finished everything. So here it is from the front side. We added the little felt on top to be like his clips and his earrings. And then for the base itself, I'm glad we were able to fit everything in there in the end with all the pins. They still do overlap a little bit more than I would like, but as a whole, I think it does a good job at showing everything off. I'm just gonna go down. There we go, that's better. And then on the sides, we have the fan art charm and then the School Academy emblem. So I'm really, really happy to have gotten this one done. Hopefully, if there are other Holostars fans at the con that I'm going to, they will let me know who their favorite is also. There we are with another Itabag. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you're interested in seeing more of these, please feel free to let me know. I have a couple more that I want to do. I do have all the materials for a character from my favorite idol game, which has long since closed, so it's very easy to get merch, thankfully. I also have stuff to do, kind of like a personal bag like a personal miscellaneous bag. After everyone was telling me about how they also have personal miscellaneous bags, I was kind of wanting to try it, and I have a spare base from my Cure Butterfly bag before, as well as a bunch of pins and stuff that I've been gifted or I've bought throughout the years that I haven't found a home for, so I think that one would also be cute. And then I've also kind of been playing with the ideas of like maybe making one for Chibzanif because that's my Guilty Gear wife. And then I was also kind of on the fence about I might go on a hunt when I do go to con and see if people have some stuff for the various shoujosei series that I like. So I'm specifically looking for like level 999 Yamada, and then also I know it's not technically shoujosei, but I do really like Horimiya, so that would also be on my list. A shoujosei Itabag I think would also be really fun. There's so many that I still want to do since I don't have like a bulletin board or anything, so the Itabags are kind of my way of displaying all my merch. Now, with all that said, I hope you have a beautiful, lovely, wonderful, blessed, immaculate rest of your day. Be very hydrated, be very moisturized, and I'll see you guys next time, whether that be in a stream or a video. Bye-bye!